The galaxy is back to being safe once again. That's such a cool piece. Hi there, my name is John Lemcool. This is an introduction to a new library I am very excited to share with you. This is for Omniverse 3. This is the Aurora library. And as you can tell from that music and from the comic, I have come up with a story which Amin Bhatia has turned into wonderful music, and Jeff Martell has turned into incredible graphics for the comic that's included with the library. So when you buy the library, you get both that demo track, 2 other demo tracks, one of them by me, one by Seth Norman, to show you other ways of using the library, as well as this cover artwork and the comic. So I created a story. This is the first. Instead of just making it, version 3, yay, wow, I wanted more. I wanted to do more with it. I'm having a good time with this stuff. And I wanted to come up with a story. Why was version 2 the Dark Hope? Why was it dark? And with the Aurora, why is the Aurora so important? So I created this story where the planet becomes alive and aware that it's being used with its sunlight to destroy the races on the planet so that this evil race can take over the planet, and changes the light to Aurora light. Aurora Borealis goes into the machines and screws them up, and they blow up and they have to go away. So I came up with that story before I started making patches. And then I made these patches to match the story, or I made patches that you would use if you were telling that type of story. There's additional patches in there as well. Not every 100 is fine-tuned for a sci-fi, science fiction, thriller movie type of thing. But as you will see in a minute, I'm going to go through the patches and show you what you got to play with. But it's a great library. I'm really happy with how it came out with. Really quickly, this is a video, and these products are all sponsored by my website, pluginguru.com. There's a summer sale that just started up, coincidentally, of course, right when this library is coming out. If you buy 2 products, so if you buy Omniverse 3 and something else, you get 25% off your entire purchase. So come to my site. There's a whole lot of different products to choose from. A lot of people are really enjoying... Oh, I don't like how it does that. We're working on revising the site, by the way. Also go to the Facebook page. Here's where I announce all sorts of new things that are going on, new libraries, inside little secrets, sales that are going on, artists you should know about, stuff like that's all there. So here's the library. We also discovered, it wasn't a big deal, but it took a little research to figure out how to get artwork into it. So for the first time, this library in Omnisphere has my artwork in it. And I'm actually going to release files, and I'll put it out on a newsletter to everybody that you can download and put into the Omniverse 1, Omniverse 2, and Omnipulse, so that they all show up with artwork too. That will be coming out probably June, July. All right, the big things. Let me show you real quickly the big things in case you're on a short break and you need to get back to work. The big things with this library, there's 100 patches. I have a lot of sample libraries, and I went through and I noticed we don't have in Omnisphere any fast strings. If you have to play fast string passages, you have to go to another library to do it. Not anymore. So you go to strings, the attacks. These are really nice. And one thing that's unique with Omnisphere is that we're able to use things such as the EQ on the layers. If you look right here on the second page, I have these being modulated by the mod wheel. So as you're playing the string sound, so when you want a little more rosin bite, you can do it. It's not something that's based on samples and they randomly change and pop up at you. You can control when it does that. There's shorts, which are just really short guys that just... I'll show those more when we're going through the whole library. I don't want to bore you guys too much. But there's a strong attacking, like arco kind of strings, like these guys are... kind of things. The other place I had fun was over here with organs. There was a pipe organ in the library, but it had a long release, so there's a whole bunch of... Then played with the mod wheel, so you could go from... And I have them with strings, and I have them with choir as well. Power rock guitar chords are here. Both big showy ones and more. So I'll show you more of those in a bit. And then horns and brass. So I came up with a French horn solo. It's called the Dream Solo because it's very dreamy. And if you wait and watch later, I'll show you the trick to that, but I'm not going to show it right now. Brass ensemble. That type of stuff. Big drums. There's all sorts of... There's orchestral... actually, if I go to the drums, there's orchestra bass drum, which there's not one in the library. And we... And I came up with some cool things with this that you can use it for more than just bass drum. There's snare drums. There's all sorts of really, really cool synth pulsey stuff. So we'll get to all this stuff. But anyway, it's a great library that's got a whole lot of unique stuff to it. So let's take a look at the library. So to start with, we have basses. This whole library is kind of alternative. So this is not where you're going to go for your stock straight ahead basses. That would be Omniverse 1 or Omniverse. The bells are not straight ahead bells because there's lots of those in Omniverse 2 and Omniverse 1. These are outside of the box kind of sounds for most part. So it's kind of to complement and beef up the library around the stuff I've already made without stepping on, things I've done already. So admin is big. And the mod wheel. And a vintage. This is kind of dedicated to all the John Carpenter and the old sci-fi films. There's no velocity sensitivity. The mod wheel gets it brighter and adds little effects. Okay. Blood Basin guitar. It starts as a bass program, and it's kind of cool. It's got resonance in the filtering. But the trick with this, the mod wheel turns into a killer guitar. And it's cool for sweepy stuff. Kind of stuff. Very fun. Memory bomb. Another huge dark. This one gets really, really bright with the mod wheel, so you can do. Pointy, solid dark. This is the obligatory dark bass. I was actually working on my demo and I needed a solid, just usable bass. And so you got to have one, right? Of course, the mod wheel takes it somewhere else. Star Cycle bass. One of the sample layers I have set to shift. So you can get all these kind of cool spacey little... All right, bells. Again, these are not traditional bells at all. It's for performance pieces and out there things. If you need it for Christmas carols, this one might actually work for Christmas carols. This is pure reflection pond, and this is really cool because it's a beautiful pure bell. And then there's this tingly stuff that fades in. And the mod wheel makes the tingly stuff go away. So it's kind of a camouflaged Celeste kind of sound. The Aurora Chime. Very important sound for my story, because this is what kind of wakes up the planet. That sound happens, I think, and that wakes up the planet when the planet hears that. Water meets dreams. Again, these are not straight ahead normal. However, hear that attack? It's hidden inside that patch. So you can have all sorts of fun with that. Waterworld 62E, this is one of the planets found in 2013 that has possible habitable life. Play melodies, it works, but it's not straight ahead. Okay, now we get to some fun BPM stuff, BPM bass. With the mod wheel, it gets really dark except for the attacks. So you can do all that kind of like espionage, stealth operations. Kind of a bass and melody. And the mod wheel up. Kind of big. Have fun with the distortion. I wanted to have like burning kind of a sensations to a lot of these patches. So the distortion and the bit crusher are used for that kind of stuff. Working Overnight is one of my favorite patches. It's just really fun. Now the Exile Mile, there's two of these. These are using the choirs in unique things. This has a Legati choir. Actually, let's do it this way. I'll silence the bass. So we have these samples that are inside of Omnisphere. You might not know it. That go like this. When you play one note and hold it. Okay. So I took that, played an octave lower, and add bass to it. And sinister pulsing thing inside there, you know. And there's sync and all sorts of things on the mod wheel on this one. Now it's audio, so it's going to slow down as you play lower notes. that. And now Exile Mile 2 is using a different choir patch where the bottom half of the keyboard is major chord and the top half of the keyboard is minor chord. So you can play it's happy. We play up here and okay. Effects Wars. Mod wheel up, you get this really dark, sinister stuff without the rhythm. I think that the source for this, yeah, it's guitar. All right, up next is the Bpm Power Chords. I did a number of patches using the power chords because I went through the library and there were not a lot of straight ahead ones. And then there were not very many rhythmic, cool, fun ones to play with. So there's 4 here. Here's a billion pop songs can be written with this stuff, guys. And the mod wheel does all sorts of filtering and resonance. Number 2 is a little bit different sound, different rhythm. And this is not using arpeggiator, as you can see. This is done right here in the mod. And you can go in here and play around with this all you want. Side chains. This is to kind of like, if you have a kick drum 4 on the floor going, then you use these. This has kind of a more complex rhythm to it. This one, if you heard in that first one, get back there. It has a little clink at the down at the chunk. So you can do stuff like that. The second one, I took that out, so it's just more stagnant, but in pop music, stagnant is good. If pennies could dance. Took away the shininess. Love that kind of stuff. Now, Midnight. Okay. I have to confess, I really liked Coldplay's Midnight. And so I wanted to recreate that sound. And I can't remember the chord exactly, but it says something like a... Doesn't matter, you can play your own stuff now. As you can see, there's 2, 3, 4 different midnight patches. They all follow the same rules, which is this. It starts with a pulse in the envelope. So if I play a chord, if I bring the mod wheel up, it's brighter. When you get about 50% and up, it changes to an LFO bass pulse. Do all sorts of cool stuff between the two, which is fun. Okay, so I tried to make it flexible so you don't have to sound like Midnight. You can use it for things in between, but it was really kind of fun to be inspired by that song. Here's Church Services, so it's a little bit more of the... I like the in-between. It's really cool. Right in there. So you're getting a little bit of both the envelope pulse and the LFO. So there you go. Midnight Countdown. This is more rhythmically kind of noise almost. But there's timing to it. And mod wheel all the way up gives it really solid timing. Okay. Midnight Toy Shop. Kind of sinister. Toys are coming alive. And then Moonlight Fairies is a little bit different thing. Different rhythm, kind of gentle pulsing to it. You know, I love this stuff. Mod wheel up takes care and gets rid of the white noisy stuff, so it's just more like now you're in the water swimming with these new alien fish creatures. Okay. The awesomeness is very awesome. I am going to just keep going because there's so many to show you. Death of Our Stars. Comes a solid pad. Okay, it's fun to play with. Now the Heart series, there's a number of these. The first one is a multi-oscillator detuned. And then the mod wheel. And with these, I set it up so it's just dead easy for you to go in here, play with these. Make new patterns. Off you go, man. So it's very easy to use the arpeggiator. They're very velocity sensitive. Or you can just turn the arpeggiator off and if that's not dynamic enough, then use the mod wheel. You can go all over the place. All right. Now these other ones are more straight ahead, single oscillator going to multi-oscillator. So you have single saw. Here's that 8 measure grow. Here comes a drop. Get so sick of that standardizing. Oh. I love drops. I love drops in dance music, but when every song has the same predictable build-up, it just gets to where I just want to throw up. So use these patches so you don't have the same predictability. Again, these are all using arpeggiator, so you can go in and change your rhythm. Tribal. This one goes outside of the norm, gets more noisy. But still has a heart pulse to it, so I kept it as a name. Mother Nature knows. This is one of those turning points in the story of Omnisphere. This is when the planet was starting to wake up to realize that the races on the planet were about to be destroyed. Didn't like that. Okay, the war drums, these are simple, sparse, big ambient boomer patches, but I used one of the menus. There's actually a menu. Where is it? The Elasto effects menu. Different notes across the keyboard are different samples. There's only a couple places in Omnisphere where they have menus set up. And so I have random note pitching happening so that as you're playing it, that drum is changing pitches. Through position, because position changes actual notes. It doesn't shift the samples. So it's triggering different samples. Very, very cool trick. War Drum 2 is much more larger with filtering and stuff. Stuff like that. All right, here we come to the French horn. You won't believe this when I show you this trick because it's kind of like, are you kidding me? So check this out. It sounds like some of the big sample libraries have the legato samples, the in-between notes and the glides. So as you play legato, it'll... Right? Well, we're doing it. It's almost embarrassing to show this because it sounds really bad. If you turn the reverb off, which as you can see is at a high mix, it's just pitchy G. And it's possible to make it sound really, really bad with the reverb off. When you turn it on, it sounds like the guy's gliding all over the place. I used to play French horn, and I never sounded as good as this. But I could do that gliding stuff really well because I was never hitting the right pitch. But all right, there's a couple other variations. The fire swell is more like big amp. Pastoral is more like the open blaring. And if you layer these with like big samples of French horn ensembles, it does some nice magical things to them. So check that out. So here's the magical brass ensemble. And the mod wheel. You can get in between. So it's great. Layer it with stuff and it's great. Now we get to the drums. This is fun. This is a big hit with growth. Weird growth. Kind of like the space sound in Contact that just repeats over and over again. It's like some weird alien message being transmitted in space. Okay, here's the Orchestra Kick. And there's some fun things here. Let me show you real quick. With the sine wave, I used key tracking to pitch, and I used a small percentage, but a non-standard, like 0.125 is your standard 1 octave, and 0.250 would be a 2 octave per octave shifting of the samples. So I use non-standard, so as you play, doesn't follow pitch, so you're not in key with anything, which is important with drums. And then I found the notes where that work great for the bass drum, comparing it to other sample libraries. And I also found that if I set the tuning right, it's really cool toms. Okay. The big boomer that's used on the second oscillator, check this out. Really cool envelope. Took a little while to shape this, but I wanted to have it so I had a little bit of the transient attack, but all the boom, the ambience that's normally in boomers is being heavily compressed. This is like my own custom compressor, so I bring this up. You know, it's too much. So by playing with this, you can shape the attack however you want. So if you want a different kick drum, just go in and play with layer B's amplitude envelope, and you can make all sorts of variations. A boom fall, gotta have these types of things for the snares. This first one I had the mod wheel kind of like making it broken. This other one, Ultra, is much more velocity sensitive. And I used the mod wheel to remove the body of the snares. Okay, very fun. Here's your big power chords. Chords with solo on the top. So you can rock out. Slow, you need the Top Gun slow guitar power chords, and there weren't any in the library I could find, so and you can use pitch bend. Pretty cool. A little bit different sound quality to this one. Really fun stuff. I'm going to skip Painful Memories for a moment because that's just too painful. Show you a couple of other guitars. And this brings up a distortion kind of sounds. It's not the distorted guitar samples used in the power chords. It's actually this distortion effect, but it creates kind of a similar... Love it. As you can tell, I like to play this kind of stuff. So these are short-lived because they just... Okay, we'll go back to the Painful Memories now. Let me prepare myself. This is a guitar with a lot of ambience, and then on the second layer is the reversed Dream piano fed through distortion into delays. So if you play short notes and you don't let it sustain too long, but if you let them sustain out, So very fun to play with. Let's keep going. Life stoppage. This is rather huge and so very gothic, very huge. It's fun having that kind of power on one wheel, one controller doing all that. Here's a sub chord. And it's randomly changing, just to show you in case you want to get rid of it. might drive you crazy and not be what you want. On the main page, I'm using Crush on the sample to randomly, if you go show modulation, it says random. So if you click here and it will show you the random, and as you can, it's going all over the place. If I mute it, now it doesn't do that. So you can mute that if you don't want. I kind of like that, but if you're trying to do a predictable thing, you might not want it. Planets collide. Sorry, painful. Ow, that hurt. You heard this in the Amin Bhatia piece for the big ending. One of the many layers used to create that incredible stuff. Sparse suspense minor. It's actually a drop in the choir. So that's kind of fun. Lost in the Vapors. This is when we start getting some fun keyboard stuff. Kind of unpredictable. Backwards Dreamer. This is using the reverse Dream Piano, but with an electric piano attack element, which is really cool for the... So it's fun for that. There's two other keyboards, and then I'll show you the pipes. I was about 80% through the library when I got this to Amin to start working on the demo that he did. And he wrote back and said, I need an aggressive piano. And I went through, and there's not an aggressive piano really in the library. And, there wasn't in the first place really much piano. So I shaped the burning piano, and what else did I find? Dream piano? But I shaped and EQ'd them and did all sorts of things to try to get a nice... And he used that to really good effect at the beginning of the demo. If you heard that, all the kind of espionage and secret stuff going on. And up high, it's kind of cool. Then I used the mod wheel to change a whole bunch of different distorted and bit shifting. Okay. Finally, the Aurora Piano. This is one of the that started the library, and the library was actually going to be called a different name. And I had this concept where I wanted all the patches to go. Well, I'll tell you because I can say the name and it's not a copyright problem. I was going to call it Crematoria, which, if you were in your science fiction film, you would know that that's the planet in the Chronicles of Riddick that he goes to, that is half of it's on fire when the sun is hitting it, and when it's in the nighttime, it's like minus 70 degrees, while in the daytime it's 300 degrees, so it's this huge, extreme range of temperature differences. Planet's on fire and then it's freezing. So I was going to make a whole bunch of patches, and I kind of did that with a lot of these, but I couldn't call it crematoria, so I didn't use that. Where it's really mellow, and then as the mod wheel is brought up, it gets really on fire, or it starts on fire and the mod wheel brings it to mellow. So this is one of the test patches, and it came out really cool, so I've kept it. The Aurora Piano starts really nice and super dreamy, and it has an electric piano in the attack, believe it or not. But it gives it a different quality, right? And then, when you bring up the mod wheel, it transforms big time. So, so it's fun to play with. Now the pipes, these are awesome. There are very few pipe programs, even though there's a really good sampled pipe organ in the Omnisphere library. And the program that I found that was the most playable had a fairly long release. So it kind of limited it to a certain way of playing. You couldn't play faster Bach passages and so forth. So I made it to be a shorter pipes. And I did a trick with the mod wheel to take it to an alternative register or stoppage of the organ, or as you'll see in a minute, goes to choir to strings. So it starts huge, and I'll show you how I do that by using the Harmonia. There's a total of, they're all turned on, so there's 4 different oscillators as well as the main, so there's 5 samples per note. Being generated. I should not be using sustain pedal with pipe organs. They don't exist. So pipes to choir, this is great for churches and so forth, for the or for horror movies, you know. Kind of thing. Okay. Pipes to strings. Okay, so those are very useful. Bipolar euphorias. These are fun. That's all you need, right? One note. The sub euphoria has a sub bass. Okay, and then the dive has filtering and so forth. And it goes to BPM pulsing, actually. And I used FM synthesis on the sine wave. Some very Jerry Goldstein-esque kind of stuff going on. Goldstein, yeah. Boeing the Spaceship. What would it sound like if you were outside with a huge cello rosin bow, and you're rubbing on the edge of a spaceship. So that was the idea. And since it's done through the granular synthesis, I've got different parameters set up to the mod wheel. So if you're doing the next gravity, here's a good place to start. Okay, things like that. Dance of the Comet Fairies. Dimensional polarity. Epic Cinemascape. Which goes down to a nice dark pad. Okay. All right. Eternal Beauty, there's two versions. There's the fast and the slow. Because a lot of people, when they do programming, they give you the slow version, but you can't play fast passages usually with the slow version. So I give you both fast and slow. Fast means you can play faster chords. It shows up sooner, so you can play. Right? Whereas the slow, you have to play much slower. And it lets it grow a little bit more. Okay. Final goodbye. Very sad moment. There's without the air. That's with the air. Garden of Eden. Lots of these kind of sounds. Heavenly Bliss. If I Awake Swells. These are using the choir swells, which you might not know, but there's these choir swells that go up and then fade away. And so I'm layering them with things and then having those synth elements fade away as well. So if you play and hold it out, it all fades out together. So if you're doing some sort of like a meditation library of songs, this would be very useful. The other swells have resonant qualities sweeping around and going up typically, so this is subtle. Okay. Not so subtle. Get your attention, right? Okay, in morning. love jet wash. This is very fun for the kind of metallic. And then the mod wheel. Very fun. Mystical water flute for the The Aurora arrives. This is a very key point in the story where the Aurora shows up, tricks the machines, causes them to destroy and blow up, and kills everyone. First it's deceiving because it's dancing across the sky. And all of a sudden you see the machines. The meters are all in red. Oh my gosh! Ah! You get the idea. Fault in Our Stars. Has this cool tingling sampler rate falling around. Vintage Aurora is a wonderful patch for the and I put the mod wheel, I set it up very carefully so that you could create literally 127 different vintage string ensemble type of sounds. So you can that's not even all the way up. Death of the Unverse. This is a very painful moment where they are evaporating and bye guys. Come back and try again in another Omniverse library. Okay, so you combine that with some big boomers and you know what's going to happen. All right, strings. So we start with a radio tremolo. This is fake tremolo with EQ and stuff on the. This is 1942 radio. You know, that kind of thing. So if you move the mod wheel up, it becomes modern. So. So it depends on what area you need to cover. Here's your fast attack strings. Okay. Shorts are the shorter guys. My shirt's making noise, I'm noticing in the microphone, but hopefully it doesn't bother you too much. Rosin string attacks, these are the Arco type. There's octaves of them. Silver screen are these. It's actually kind of fun. One of the layers is heavily reverb, like max reverb, so you get this. And there's octaves of this for the more dramatic. Cranky Cello. This is cello-esque. Believe it or not, the rosin sound is coming from bowed acoustic guitar, and the cello quality is coming from the Mellotron cello. So it seems like they shouldn't work together, but together I found not bad, you know? And the mod wheel for EQ. Not as effective because the attack is it's not very cello-y. There's not much to work with the EQ, but there you go. Then there are a couple synth programs to round out the library. There's Cheap and Buzzy for the Epic Oasis is a cool. Play big arpeggiators and things. And then finally Retro Vintage. This is like the bass earlier that was analogy with no velocity sensitivity. Same basic concept. For Thomas Dolby-esque or all right, there you go. 100 patches. Along with the demos, along with the comics. Omniverse 3 is a library I'm very happy to share with all of you. No increase to price. I'm not in this for the money. I'm making enough money to pay my bills, and so I'll just keep making fun libraries. And hope you guys appreciate and buy and don't torrent. So there you go. All right. So have a great day, and we'll be talking to you soon with more libraries. We've got some fun ones in the works. All right. See you later. Thanks.